Today we're going to be replacing the fuel pressure regulator screws in this sled, and it's the first time I've done it, so I'll try to show you how. Fuel pressure regulator looks like it sits right behind here. It's part of the pump assembly and everything. So I think what needs to happen is I got the side panels removed, the seat off, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the cowling off and see what's underneath here. So to do that, you got two screws through the top here, they're Torx drive, and then you got here and here on the other side, and that loosens that all up. The next thing you're going to want to do is unplug this vent tube. I'm going to grab a screwdriver quick. And we're going to pop the gauge out. There's two little tabs here. Just push down with a screwdriver and lift back towards the rear of the sled. The gauge pops out. And then you release the locking tab on the connector and take it apart like that. Next thing we're going to do, there's another connector in here. We're going to go ahead and release the tab there, unhook that so those connectors are out of the way. Finally, on this other side of the machine, there is a tube for the air intake, and we're going to disconnect that. So now this whole module, hopefully, just slides forward. And make sure you disconnect this sensor here on the intake tube. Get access. And pop that off like so. So now you still can't see anything, but you can see the lines going back here. And basically these almost run directly into this, but it's right behind here. So the next thing I'm going to do is remove this panel, which there's two screws here, and then you take the fuel cap off and loosen this locking collar here. So now we're about ready to remove this panel. I got the two screws here removed. I've got these guys up here from the console, or the hood I should say. And now we're going to remove the rest of this collar, and I use this little pick tool here to pull it around, help out a little bit. That can get a little tight there, I guess, so something to really grab onto that helps. Set the cap off to the side. So now we'll lift this off the back. And you got a couple clips underneath here you got to break free. Okay. Now you got to get your DESS connector and your grip warmers. And those are on this plug right here on the front. So unplug that for your grip warmers. And the DESS is a tab right here on the switch. Get that loose. Just lift that off. Get it out of the way. Now, we still can't see anything. Basically, directly under here is where the fuel pressure regulator is. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and drain the fuel out of the tank and get that going at least, because I think we're going to have to get the fuel level at least below where the pump goes in. I got the tank siphoned, and go ahead and put the fuel cap back on just to make sure nothing falls in there. Next thing I think we need to do is, this way I'm going to do it anyways, is pull the overstructure off and pull the tank back. I think that'll work. I'm not saying that's the only way to do it. You might be able to get in here and remove the oil tank. I don't know. This just seems like the way to do it to me. I've already got the two bolts, or nuts I should say, loosened off these studs here, and there's some bushings in there. And then there are about 4 bolts to loosen up here in the overstructure, and we may or may not need to take all those loose, but we'll find out here. And then also to gain access, you need to pop this little clip or this little cover off, and there's just 2 tabs here that go into this overstructure piece here. So I'm going to finish pulling these screws out, these bolts I should say. There's a bushing in this top one, so make sure you grab that. It's captured in between that overstructure. So there's that guy. And then the top. And then there's two little guys here. And on the other side, it holds a P-clamp. For the brake line. Just gonna put the nut right back on that one. Okay. So now this whole piece should be loose, as far as I can tell anyways. Looks like the tank's gonna pick up and everything is gonna slide back. I have these bolts taken out here into the oil reservoir, just in case. Looks like this vent tube we're gonna hang up on. Okay. Looks like we need to disconnect three things here. There's some wiring connector, must be for the sending unit. And then we have our fuel lines. I kind of got these pulled up and out a little bit here. They actually sit in this plastic. And there's a little tab here that we're going to push in and pull the line off. And also for this next one, it goes over the top here. That connector's on the tank. So we're going to get the electrical connector out of the way first, I think. Got the plug out of there. Take a look here. Same type of plug on both. There's a little tab here you just push in and that unlocks the collar. You can see this a little bit better. Unhook that guy. And of course we got fuel running everywhere. That's okay, it's race gas. Smells lovely. We get that stuff up and out of the way. And now we're ready to pull the tank off. I actually removed this guy too. I mentioned earlier I took those cap screws out of the oil reservoir and then I just pulled this straight out. Get that out of the way for your pull cord. We're going to pull the tank completely off the sled. Okay, now we got the tank sitting here and all the fuel hopefully on the bottom. This looks like another locking collar here, just like on the fuel tank we took our earlier. Use these two tools, just a screwdriver and this hook tool again, and loosen that up. So I'm going to finish winding that out of there, and hopefully this is the right way to do this. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to remove those two screws, and no need to take the pressure regulator out. Just gonna make sure that guy's clean. It's a brand new part, it should be. And go ahead and put these in. And get them tightened down. The torque spec on these is tight. Whole assembly in, it's only got one way it can go, and you look at the float here and it's coming that way, so that goes towards the top of the tank, and we get that slid in and kind of twist it around into position. Okay, and on this sled there's at least a white mark from assembly here to here, so I know we're lined up. Slip the locking collar back over it. going to get some of this wood and pine needles and all that fun stuff out from underneath the seat here. Don't know who put those there. Okay, let's drop the tank back on. Not destroy everything. And hook these fuel lines back up. And route these appropriately as you took them off. I'm going to check the O-ring here real quick. Wouldn't be a bad idea to do that, just so you don't have to pull it all back apart if you got one cut. Snapped in nice. And it might not hurt to give it a little tug there, make sure. Get your sending unit connector hooked back up. Index the tab to the, I guess you'd say, what, port side of the sled? I don't know. Left side. Hook this guy up, route it accordingly. Slide the tank forward for that one. Okay, so that's that. And then this guy, which of course is a pain in the butt to get off, get that vent hooked back up. So that's the tank. You could go ahead and put your full start assembly back in here. Also a pain in the butt. Yeah, we'll tighten her down later. Okay, then the overstructure. Make sure you take these bushings and drop them in. Then put the overstructure over top of that. And then the nylon nuts. Okay, next we're going to put the bolt on up front here. I'm going to grab this one with the P-clamp first. And get the overstructure back into alignment. Make sure everything's orderly and not pinched. Goes in pretty tight, but it's not too bad. Make sure the vent tube's in good shape still. Okay. Got these two small ones on each side. The cap screw and nut without a bushing is the forwardmost one. And then the cap screw with the bushing goes in the rear. Kind of tight quarters here, but we should be able to get it. Might need the aid of a plier or something like that to hold that while you push it in there, but it's not too bad. Okay. And we'll go ahead and tighten all those up, and then we got that squared away. Okay, I got the overstructure installed here. I got the overstructure, tank, and bushing and nut installed there. I need to clip this back in yet. Just like so. And I've decided I'm going to leave this loose, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to install this cowling, and then I'm going to snap the gauge in, and I'm going to fire the sled. That way I can kind of look in here and make sure I don't have any leaks, because it's my first time doing this. These guys snap into place here on the sides of the seats, or side of the seat, I should say. Get those installed quick. Okay. So now the cowl. Should have nothing on there that's going to fall in the tank when we put this on. Go ahead and slide this and into place. And hook up the DESS connector. And then wrap this connector back around the front, clip it into place, and then just kind of drop this in, just like it came out of there. Those two little tabs lock in here, back in. And we'll go ahead and put this ring back on, and the fuel cap. Again, this is probably going to be hard to start. Once it gets down past the initial threads, it seems like it goes a lot better. Okay, so I got this locking collar back on, and what I'm going to do, like I said, is start the machine. But first I'm going to add just a little bit of fuel, and then I'm going to plug in the ECU, or the gauge I should say. Just let it sit there. And we're probably going to throw a check engine light because we have this intake sensor disconnected, but that's fine. So I'll fill it with fuel and we'll see if she starts.